Hello friends and open-minded thinkers. In this video I will talk about astrological transits in June of the 2021. Since we are in the season of eclipses, I will especially talk about their significance and connect that with those astrological aspects and transits with current events. I'm not going to talk about every zodiac sign. But I will mention some of the zodiac signs along the way, especially when I will be talking about aspects at the beginning of the video. If you want to find out more about yourself, you can surely schedule a personal consultations with me. All links are below this video on YouTube, as usually. So let's see first lunar activity. New moon is on the 10th of June in Gemini, which is also solar eclipse, partial annual solar eclipse. And full moon is on the 24th in Capricorn. From the important transits, I will mention that the Sun is in Gemini until the 21st. Then it is in Cancer, better to say in the sign of Crab. Then Jupiter is in Pisces, and from the 21st will be retrograde on the 2nd degree. So you see Jupiter was only on the 1st and the 2nd degree of Pisces and will return to the sign of Aquarius to stay there until the end of the year. Then Mercury is direct from the 23rd in Gemini. Then Venus spends most of the time in Cancer or Crab, and at the end of the month Venus enters Leo sign, where Mars will be already. Mars is in the Leo sign from the 12th. So Mars and Venus will travel together, will be very close and make the conjunction, and they will stay together until August. Then Neptune is retrograde in Pisces from the 26th, and the most important aspect in June is the square between Saturn and Uranus. This square is now happening between the 13th and the 18th between the 13th and the 18th day of the month, and it is on the 13th degree. So let's mention aspects in more details. On June the 3rd, the Sun trines Saturn. This is the trine in the air element, which gives seriousness and success in business matters. It is very good combination for scientific work and for learning. And the same day, on the 3rd of June, Venus trines Jupiter, which gives usually rich emotions that can easily be shared with others. This aspect is also very good also for the financial matters. It brings luck and also luck in money. Then on the 5th, Mercury squares Neptune. This is the time usually of deception and dishonesty. And on the 5th of May, Mars opposites Pluto. This is very dangerous aspect, which is present in eclipses. It was actual in the May and June eclipse will be actual also. So I will mention this opposition between Mars and Pluto once again later on. So you see the 5th of June is not a really good day for anything basically. And then on the 10th of June, Mercury is in conjunction with the Sun and the Moon, but on that day there is a solar eclipse. So this is very important aspect that speaks of the search for the intelligent and new solutions. But some of the solutions, even if they look new, there can be actually used in the past, but now perhaps in a new way. So something is duplicating here. And this eclipse speaks about the necessity of a clear mind that I will speak more later on. Then on the 21st of June, there is the water trine. It is happening between Venus in Crab and Neptune in Pisces. This is a fantastic aspect that can awaken imagination and even bring platonic love, and it is ideal for art. On the 23rd, Sun in Cancer will trine Jupiter in Pisces. This is the best aspect of the month. This is big water trine. That brings happy circumstances, compassion. This is like a God mercy or God grace shown to us. People who have close souls meet with this aspect. And also human kindness is rewarded, you know. So this is quite a good one. Those water trines are especially important for people who have planets in the Cancer sign, in Pisces, and in Scorpio. They will happily enjoy, they will especially enjoy some happily circumstances, or harmonious circumstances will happen to them. But this is also quite important on the mundane level, because those aspects that are appearing at the end of the June, they speak about better future and some sort of a hope, even of the success. And we can even say this is the significance of some sort of salvation of people on this planet. But also on the 23rd of June, there is an opposition between Venus and Pluto, which actually is connected with the opposition of Mars and Pluto, which is exact on the 5th of June. We spoke about that. And actually, those oppositions between Mars, Pluto, and Venus, Pluto, they speak about some sort of a passion. So if there is any passion still in the world, then the time of passion and of love actually starts because of this opposition and because of the conjunction of the Venus and Mars that will happen soon in Leo in July. So yes, it is time for love. From the end of May until the beginning of August, we can say it is this time for love and love adventures. Who wants that? It's fine. I think that during the summer, people will be very much tired of everything that was happening, of these crazy measures and lockdowns and everything, and people will only want to live and to love. And maybe we will even face some sort of a movement. We actually see it already, even if nobody shows this to us in official medias, that people are gathering together on the square, singing, dancing, like some hippie time happening again. But we spoke about the passion, which is quite strong in June. And if this passion is political, as it can be, because Pluto is in the Capricorn, the sign of policy, then in that case, if we speak about political passion, I believe it can be very tough. And now let's talk a little bit about eclipses. June begins after the total lunar eclipse that occurred on May 26th in the sign of Sagittarius. It happened near to the fixed star Akrab, which is Scorpio actually in Arabic, and this star, according to Ptolemy, behaves like Mars and Saturn. So we were facing here very, very cruel energy. Actually, we will live with this energy next 6 months. This is the effect of the eclipses. This eclipse actually eclipsed or darkened everything that Sagittarius symbolizes. And Sagittarius symbolizes the truth, high moral values, universities, judicial and religious institutions. So perhaps all of this was darkened, and it seems that there is no place for the truth anymore in this world. This eclipse also means the end of the old way of educating people, even the end of old scientific paradigm, which is quite okay. It is really time for something new, but it would be good if everything could happen in a healthy and normal way. This is a process, but it would be good to have a normal process, which we do not have, because of the active and insolent lie that is spread in mass medias. So even if many people feel that they are ready for something new, it is still not coming. Also, let me remind you, eclipses occur on the axis of travel and learning. So those who were dealing with tourism or with schools and kids also, they were really affected with this. This is simply because we speak about Sagittarius Gemini axis, the axis of travel, education, communication, and so on. So we are facing troubles in this area, because something new will start from now on. Then the second eclipse brings much better symbolism. It will happen on the June the 10th in Gemini sign at the 19th degree. It will be a partial solar eclipse near the fixed star Bellatrix, which is located in the constellation of Orion. This star is known as the star of a woman warrior. They also call her Amazon warrior or Amazon female warrior, I'm not sure in English. This trans stars brings glory and success to warriors, especially to those, whether people or nations, who have somehow female energy or feminine energy. So it is necessary to have courage in a feminine way. And look, that day, when Sun and Moon are in conjunction and at the eclipse, they create the trine to the planet of Saturn. And it seems that everything will be as it should be. Let's see, in the next 6 months, it can be that really the real warrior is playing the best game in a female way. Since this eclipse happens in Gemini, we will need the skill to trade during this time, and some little juggling is needed here to make everything work properly and to avoid attacks by the evil and envious. So now you would ask where the evil and the envious come from. Well, you see, there are many of them in today's time, and in astrology they are represented in May, in June, by the opposition between Pluto and Mars. Despite the fact that this opposition is exact only on June the 6th, it is actually active from the mid-May until the mid-June. It is a very dangerous energy that causes the smell of war in the air that many people feel. A French astrologer who wrote in the last century, and he used pseudonym Ed Alain Yavank, he describes this opposition between Mars and Pluto as the fatalism and rape, and also conquest by force. However, since the Pluto is in Capricorn sign, and which is the sign of politics and ruling circles, it can be said that this is a political rape. Who rapes whom and who is fanatic today? I will leave you to think about that, but I will help you a little bit to understand better who is on whose side. So the Global Health Summit, let me remind you, was held in Italy on May 21st. And Bill himself was there at the summit. So now I will use only names, and those of you who know who is doing what in this world today will understand who are these people that I'm mentioning. Some of you will not. I'm sorry about that, but I don't want to speak precisely. So Bill was there at the summit. He is that philanthropist who has been sterilizing people and children on several continents for decades. Tedros was also there, who is accused for killing 2.5 million people with cholera, the disease. Then Mario was there, and all of these health propagators themselves. Then also Bill and Schwab openly say that they are dealing with depopulation, but many people still think that they speak about health protection. Many individuals who oppose their health policy were dead. For example, some African presidents who disapproved, they disappeared very quickly. Unfortunately, there are many also others who simply disappeared. One of them is Mr. Mullis, who actually invented the test that now is massively used. You will know which test I'm speaking about. And he died suddenly before the onset of the disease in question happened. He died in the year 2019, perhaps because he said for what purpose the test can be used and for what cannot be used, you know. So this is this rape also of the truth. This is what I mean when I speak that there is no place for truth in this world, which is symbolized by the eclipses in Sagittarius in the last year. And then, of course, when we see who died and what is happening, someone can be surprised, perhaps, that I speak about this fanatic rape and disappearance of the truth. Everyone should study what is happening. We are in some sort of the collective trance, and in the state of some sort of unusual ritual behavior that is global. This is happening globally. And this is perfectly symbolized by the eclipses on this Gemini-Sagittarius axis. The last eclipse that will happen on the 10th of June also has a square to the planet Neptune, and that leads us to the myth of Dionysus. So let me tell you shortly what the myth of Dionysus symbolizes, or to say which archetype is awakening now with these events that are happening on the sky, what that means for us. So I will tell you briefly about this mythical hero. His experiences are many because he is one of the main ancient deities, but I will speak shortly. So Dionysus is the son of the god Dios or Zeus and the mortal wife Samela. As in many myths, Hera learned that her husband Zeus had cheated on another woman, which caused her envy and jealousy. She masked herself as a nurse or something like that. She went to Samela and told her to ask her lover Zeus to appear before her in all his divine greatness, which she did. After long begging, Zeus agreed to it, what he could do, and then lightning and thunder began to radiate from him. One lightning struck Samela's belly, and Zeus pulled the child out of the belly because there was a flame there, but Samela herself died. So he saved the child, but not Samela. Then Hermes, or Mercury, as we call this deity in astrology, who was the god of various skills, he stitched the premature child to Zeus' tight, to his leg. And the child remained there until the time came to be born again. That is why it is said in mythology that Zeus is twice born. This duality is characteristic of the sign of Gemini, and with this eclipse we will witness a repetition over something in the next 6 months. So significant events will be duplicated. It is also possible that after this eclipse, something that started in June last year will repeat in June this year. Okay, Hera, Zeus' wife, was not satisfied that Dionysus survived, so she abused him all her life and sent him madness. So during his life, during Dionysus' life, he was often in a sort of trance, intoxicated and unconscious. He is one who gave wine to humanity, the alcoholic drink, which is hard to resist, and that is why he has similar symbolism as Bacchus or Saint Tryphon in, for example, Orthodox Christianity. Dionysus himself, as a divine being, could influence the lives of others as well. Watch this, please. So he also punished some by sending them madness. And some women of confused mind, because he made them confused, under his influence, destroyed in a way their children. Please think of that, why I'm talking about that in today's time and why this mythos is appearing to us today. Are we doing something similar? He's also considered the god of vegetation and the renewal of nature. His cult was celebrated in various mysteries. There are many mysteries made for Dionysus, and there were human sacrifices with the aim of restoring nature. So think please also about this, why we learn now about this, and do we need, especially in Christian countries, to sacrifice anybody still, and who is doing that in today's time, and what we are going to do with that? Shall we leave it like as it is or learn something from this? So you probably understand why I'm talking this about. In a state of madness, in a state of trance, of mass hypnosis, people can do many evil and harm themselves and others as well. Every eclipse of the sun symbolically means that the consciousness or the reason, which is represented by the sun, disappeared, and the darkness or the unconscious grows stronger. So it is traditionally thought that the eclipse of the sun brings difficulties to the ruler of the country, of the state, some ruler, and sometimes means the end of someone's rule. This eclipse is not that strong, but it is visible from the northern part of the world, mostly in America. So we will see if this will have the most effect there in the next 6 months or somewhere else, perhaps. So if the truth is symbolically destroyed by the first eclipse in May, then we need to find common sense and true information after the second eclipse, as it should be through the sign of Gemini, and not to fall in a total trance. Gemini represents the reason. This is the archetype of reason, of practical thinking and clear mind. And of course, these are qualities that are in question when eclipse happen. That's why we have to feel in a stronger way the meaning of those qualities after the eclipse. Personally, I think that lies in the media produce this state of trance. It is the strongest weapon of today, although biochemical weapons and many other things are also in use. Of course, the directors of this project and this war are also in some sort of a trance. In every war, there is some insane, fanatic idea that obscures common sense. There are also many intelligent people who speak about this and who say clearly what is happening. But no, many people are still hypnotized by the official medias, and that's what those medias are telling them. So the great tension that is created in May and June of the year 2021 is also the consequence of the square between Saturn and Uranus. I spoke in details about this square in my video for the year 2021. The name of the video is Let It Burn. So maybe you will go back to this video to see what I was talking about there. But I will here repeat few things. So the square is exact from the June 13 to the June 18, but we feel it all year round. Just sometimes those two planets make this square stronger and then they are a little bit apart. So let us explain here the meaning of this square. Simply put, the symbolism of this square means the conflict of old and the new. It is time for a new system, but the creators of the old system, which took this form in the 18th century, although is much older, do not want to live. Not that they just don't want to live, but they are also ready to destroy biological life on Earth and people in order to survive. The destruction of the biological life is Uranus in Taurus, and that they are doing some sort of destruction of people as well is square to Saturn that is in Aquarius. The square marks a major also economic crisis, and since Uranus is in Taurus, many people are experimenting today with virtual currencies. I guess everything will fail, all of those currencies, one way or another, because this economic system will be replaced by a new one in the coming years. No matter that they are trying to stop that, it will happen. So now the situation is more than hysterical when this is blocked in a way. And if you see what is happening in America, you see that dollar is printed in a huge quantities, and they just give money to people because they want people to be silent, and this money does not have cover. Also, unlimited cards or cards no limit cards are common thing in the upper layers of society everywhere in today's world. So I can ask only, is this sustainable? And how long can it take to print and spend something that does not exist? We will see. So Uranus in Taurus also symbolizes further destruction. I'm talking here about the bad side of this transit, because there is a square, so we mainly see this this harsh manifestation those positions of the planets. So in that bad sense, Uranus in Taurus symbolizes further destruction of biological life on Earth also. That is why all this is happening to us now. What is happening, which could not even be a dream in previous years. Now we are facing that the great powers of the world are fighting among themselves about that who will chip more people and who will more people attach to their antennas. This is what is happening. So also Bill, that I mentioned, philanthropist Bill, who is obviously a very enthusiastic person, he plans to stop the radiation of the sun because, for God's sake, the sun is harmful to us. So he's going to do something with this. So the sun, which is the source of life on Earth, and it is our star around which all entire solar system revolves, should be prevented from shining. That's what Bill thinks. So take a look at the sky at night and try to imagine the size of the universe, and then imagine in that infinite universe one planet Earth, and then a group of people on that planet Earth who decided to prevent the shining of the star. And you will see how crazy this idea is and how dangerous actually it is. So Saturn in Aquarius symbolizes the restriction of people, abolishes freedom, and blocks healthy collective development in the first phase. Later on, Saturn will teach us something about those subjects, but for now is still blocking those things. Saturn is the planet of the shadow, so I will explain that a little bit. Wars are often created by the projection of the collective unconscious, namely, one side constantly attacks the other and in fact projects its characteristics to the other side. Example, when somebody says, you are a murderer, or you do not respect human rights, or you do not have parliamentary elections. If one says this constantly and repeats this, trying to convince others that really things are so, it is always a projection, in this case, of a collective shadow. And it always turns out, in the end, that these were all characteristics of the attacker. However, when the shadow completely conquers the conscious part of the person or the collective, then it takes over the power over the light, and the light is consciousness. So then the murder and wars take place. Because by killing another, the attacker is killing himself. He kills that evil or that something dark in himself that he does not want to see or he cannot accept he has. And that is why he projects this on the other. I hope you understand this mechanism of the shadow, especially this collective shadow. Of course, many wars and colonization, for example, they did not happen because of the project of the shadow, but because the desire to kidnap, to steal something from somebody, some nations and so on. And this is something a little bit different. We did not explain that. We explained war because of the projection of the shadow. And many times in history, the world has been in trance, and it is now, some sort of massive hysteria. And when you see how now people are under the influence of the fear, which is produced by somebody, then you will no longer be surprised how there were so many Nazis in Germany. It is simply a collective hysteria that one cannot just resist. Reason does not regulate world and political events, not only other events, but mythology does. Jung explained that perfectly through the myth of Wotan, and he explained how the Germans happened to be the victims of a mad trance during the Second World War. Namely, Wotan appeared in the collective unconsciousness. He came from the old German mythology as an archetype who is a wanderer, savage, and who deals with magic. And that is why the Third Reich was colored with the ideas of the occultists. Wotan had many similarities with the Dionysus himself. That's why I already talk about Dionysus. This is very similar archetype. Not the same, but similar archetype. That is why it could happen that a nation that in that time was so civilized, as people understood Germans in that time, fell into the hysteria of Nazism. In essence, the Germans were misused by the eternal initiators of wars. They were very naive, actually, we can also say that. And they were conquered also by the collective unconsciousness, which appeared at that time, so to speak. I'm saying this in a simplified way, but I will be glad if people can understand what I'm talking about. So unfortunately, something similar is repeating now in the world. So everything looks like the Fourth Reich. Unfortunately, the main drivers are hidden again, although it is very well known who they are. And again, everything is ritualized and mystified, but some crazy ideas that deal with the conquest of the humanity in a little bit different way, but very similar. And then someone tells me that mythology is not important and that we are rational beings. And watch now, they also say that we believe now in science. But they forgot that science is mythological as well. So what do we believe in? It's always mythology. So mythological stories and certain archetypes are behind everything we do. So we are driven by forces that are deep and archetypal, and only awareness of them can help us prevent their rule over us. Common sense is such a beautiful thing, and it would be wonderful to nurture it. Mercury will be retrograde most of the month, so it is a very good period to analyze the state of our mind. Let's consider whether is it necessary to trust the technocrats who are already saying completely openly that man or a human being is an outdated and should be, because of that, chipped and connected to antennas and computers. Of course, those eclipses that are in Gemini and Sagittarius will be mostly felt by people who have planets in Gemini and Sagittarius, but actually we all will feel them. So let's be patient in June until the middle of the June especially actually in the time between two eclipses from the 26th of May until the 10th of June. Give it 2 weeks more from the both sides. Then we need to wait and to listen and to learn. And then we act only after the eclipses pass by. Consciousness is that changes the state of thing. When we become aware of a certain patterns by which we function, first as individuals and then later on as a collective, then we can cease to be victims of, we will cease to be victims of the old patterns that are actually in the realm of the unconsciousness. So what I'm trying to say is that it's important to know who we are, what we are doing, who does what in this world, and not to be the subject of manipulations. So we said at the end of the month are going to be water trines. Let me remind you, which is a very nice thing. There is a light coming, there is some sort of energy that is coming to help us to overcome June. These water trines actually are speaking about that still there is a place in this world for a good person, for a human person, and still we can really change things for better. And that is all for now. If you would like to schedule personal consultations with me, that's not the problem. You can order that. You can also order some of my audio recordings. Please check what do I offer. Everything is on my webpage, symbolicthinking.net. You will see there that I mainly work with this spiritual astrology and astrological psychology, that I do theta healing and some other things also. On my web pages, you will also see the astrology course for beginners. This is the online course, so you can study when you use mobile phone or you are connected to internet anytime. So if you like this video, like it, share it, and subscribe to my channel, and thank you very much in advance. Until next time, I wish you to cultivate common sense with all your strength and all your soul. And see you soon.